Hey folks, it is September the 30th, and we're starting a little early today if you're joining us live. And we are simply going over chapter 35, which is over Norse mythology, very briefly. And then following that, we're going to start studying for our quiz tomorrow. And the quiz is over the Quizlet sets for chapters 24 and 25, 26 and 27, and 28, 29. So make sure you go into Google Classroom and or my Quizlet and study those terms for tomorrow's quiz. After the quiz, I'm going to have a brief primary source article for you to read, which has a collection of different snippets regarding people surviving through Viking raids. So make sure you do that. All right. All right. So first off, let's go over today's images. So we have the following here. This is a artist's interpretation of Odin, otherwise known as Woden, which was commonly held as like the chief father, creator god of these people. And so you see here he has his spear, which he was known for having with him. He also, like here you see ravens. Ravens were considered kind of like holy messengers for Nordic people. And so a lot of times their priests will watch for like the flights of ravens and stuff. And as you may remember from Greek and Roman times, the flights of birds were always monitored to see if the gods were telling messages to mortals and things like that. Here's Asgard with its rainbow bridge. This is where the gods lived. In Norse mythology, the gods were kind of like they weren't the only gods. There was like other older, more ancient gods as well. They had kind of like their version of the Titans, like the Greeks did, which were the giants. And there was different realms other than the mortal world and Asgard. Here's the son of Odin, Thor, with his ram-driven chariot and his hammer, Mjolnir. Yeah. So Mjolnir, and he's riding around with thunder and chariot and all that stuff. So here we have the death of, what was his name, Balder? Yeah. And so as long as he remained alive, the world would be free of evil. But Loki tricked this blind fella, and he's going to be poisoned by mistletoe. And then everybody's going to be unhappy, try to give him back. It's not going to work.
Loki.
Yeah, he doesn't look very happy about it.
Loki comedy.
It's probably this guy laughing back there. Yeah, so. And this guy's looking at him like, you jerk. He looks pretty disappointed. It's like, what did you do? You were supposed to miss.
The guy next to him was like,
Yeah, it's all fun and games until somebody winds up dead. All right, this is Frigga. She's known as kind of like the mother goddess in Norse mythology. Here's the interpretation of Ragnarok. And so here you have Woden fighting the great wolf, and he's going to die in that battle. All the gods are going to die. Most of them are actually going to burn up.
what is that big old snake swallow?
That is, I forgot the name of it, but they believe that there was a giant serpent that wrapped all the way around the earth. And Thor is going to fight it and defeat it, but it's going to poison him to death.
The best way, the most common way to usually say his name is just the Serpent of Midgard.
The Serpent of Midgard.
Because his name is
Super long.
It's long and confusing.
He's also one of the children of Loki.
They say like
So I understand
It's
why.
how the wolf, Fenris, and the snake.
Yeah, the Fenris wolf. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, they say Swedish is one of the most difficult languages to learn, and there's so many dialects. people from one town don't understand like the next a lot. So it's like it's pretty tough. So here they are, warriors in Valhalla, which is basically Odin's hall, where he has the finest warriors essentially resurrected to live forever, to fight all day and feast all night, which sounds kind of like a warrior thing. Carried up there by Valkyries and healed and all that stuff. And here's the Valkyries carrying up, looking for some dead guys, see who's worthy of coming up. Live in Asgard.
Black guy.
And this is known as Saint Olaf. He's going to be the king. Yeah, he's going to convert to Christianity and convert a lot of the Vikings, the Norse, into Christians.
How did you go from Norse mythology to Christianity?
Because, well, there's not. It's essentially going to become extinct for a long time. They're going to adopt Christianity instead. So Christian missionaries are going to come into these regions, guys, especially during the time of Charlemagne and afterwards. And it just slowly but surely is going to get converted. It wasn't unlike towards the east, like around like with the Eastern Celts and stuff like that. This was more like a non-violent conversion. That one. So, all right, so let's quickly get our notes up for today. All right, so somebody tell me a little something about the Norse gods.
They're always fighting.
Yeah, so they were polytheists.
They weren't immortal.
Yeah, so exactly, and that's the thing. But the thing is about Norse mythology, it's not so much about death, it's about death and rebirth. So it's like the old generation dies so that the new one can come up. So Ragnarok was basically about the world being destroyed and then remade into like a new, better world.
They're always trying to like.
Mythology, a lot of it's like adjusted.
So
They're always trying to like stop Ragnarok from coming.
yes. They're always in a struggle. Yeah, they're not all powerful. They're powerful, but not all powerful.
They ain't super strong. And Thor is just a bloodthirsty
It's
brute. Brute. Bloodthirsty brute. He's a barbarian. He is. He's a bloodthirsty barbarian.
And like other polytheistic religions, like each one of their gods kind of has like their own domain. You know, like they're split apart. They're all not like copycats of the same things. They all have their personalities. They all have their things that they specialize in, stuff like that. And in fact, like Thor and Odin, they find some of the roots in their ancient gods are actually related to ancient Hindu gods. So they think that the people who migrated from the east and will eventually become the Vikings learned a lot about their religion from the same people who kind of started later on with develop like the Brahmin and the Hindus and stuff like that.
Basically, it goes from like Greek mythology to Roman mythology to all these other mythologies.
Kind of, but it's not so linear. Like the influence, like what they're saying is that like some of these things are similar, like in nature, like people will worship parts of nature and things like that. And eventually those things in nature will become like different gods that they worship, personalities.
That's what I'm saying. Like people adopt different mythologies from different mythologies.
And that's often the case. But the thing is sometimes too, is that it can be similar, but it can start in different places because the inspiration's the same, because everybody's looking at the same stuff.
You go from Greek mythology to Roman mythology to Egyptian mythology, all these other mythologies.
And they do influence each other for sure, because they'll share stories, they'll hear bits of it, right? Hey, all right, so we're good on that one. What about their afterlife?
Valhalla.
Yeah, so who is that for?
Valhalla's for for the warriors that die on early in battle, and hell is for the people who didn't die on.
You're right. Yes, it wasn't. You're right. Yeah. So for warriors, and and women who died in childbirth, because giving birth was very dangerous back then. They didn't have hospitals. It can be like there's the risk of infection, drop blood pressure, a whole bunch of things, that are very deadly that can go on in childbirth. So they saw this as something that's heroic. And hey, Andrew, what else were you saying?
Hell is for the people who didn't die on.
Yeah, so hell it's kind of like for normal people, right? When it's just supposed to be boring. It's kind of like the Greek afterlife. And cross the river
Not
Styx.
really.
Here's,
Not
The Greeks were like depressed all the time though.
Yeah, like the Greeks.
If
I don't know how to explain it.
You might as well party and then you go to the hell. You're good.
Like
hell for the normies.
Greek mythology is like the Hades version. Like
Mhm.
Not cool.
they would go to their afterlife would depend on like if they did good or bad in their actual life.
And here it's kind of same because they'll say like this is good, warrior giving birth, and like Hades, like hell was one of the Nordic goddess. She was a goddess, and they named her realm after her. Same with Hades, he was a Greek god, and they named his realm after him. And they were both for normies who don't really do that much. And so you had in Greeks they had Tarsus for the really bad people and the Titans, and then they had Elysia or the Elysian Fields, which is more of a Roman.
You mean Tartarus?
Yeah, Tartarus. And then they had the Elysian Fields, which was more of a Roman invention. That's going to come later. All right, so Twilight of the Gods. So what was that?
Miss Wagner.
Yeah.
They didn't name a realm after her. They had already had the realm named, and then Loki gave birth. Or not Loki, but
I thought Hel was one of the Nordic
Loki
goddesses,
gave
and they
birth
just
to
kind of
She is,
tricked her
but
into
she
it.
got sent there
Uh-huh.
because
She's like
she was half dead. So that's what they decided to name her. They named her after the realm.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
But Loki gave birth to that horse.
Loki did give birth to a horse.
That's nice. That must have been painful.
Probably
Super guy. All right, so what's the Twilight of the Gods for the Norse?
Ragnarok.
Yeah,
Time,
Ragnarok.
the eternal winter.
And distracted from that
Oh, yeah,
giant,
yeah.
the possibility was horse.
If you turn back, you turn red.
No, he probably sees Mona, they gave birth, and then turned into
But the horse had,
All right, so Ragnarok, end of time in Norse mythology. When the old gods would die and the world would be destroyed.
There
Eventually
really
they
is
hope
no
to
end
be-
of time because two gods come back to life.
Yeah, so
It was Balder and someone else.
they're supposed to have like a big war with one of the like a fire giant or something. And must be supposed to die or something like that. I'm not that up and up on Norse mythology. Like it's one of those things I like.
It's very intriguing.
It sounds neat. I mean,
It's
It's
also
basically
very
right after
twisted.
death.
The Thor that Marvel portrays is puny compared
It
to
really
the
is.
actual Thor. The actual Thor is a bloodthirsty barbarian.
sounds right. Yeah.
One time the Giants actually stole Mjolnir from him, so they had sent him in place of, I think it was Freya, because the Giants wanted Freya for Mjolnir. So they sent Thor dressed as Freya, and Loki shifted because Loki.
Yeah.
He's a shifter.
And then the funny,
Stabs everybody in the back. But, well, they sent Thor in place of Freya.
Mhm.
Well, as soon as Thor got a hold of his hammer, he literally slaughtered every single giant
Yep.
in the entire hall. There was roughly
But the
like
funny thing is
30
that-
of them.
the
And he
funny
did
thing,
it and then was like, I could go for another keg.
Sounds very Viking.
Like the funny thing is, like they put Mjolnir in his lap because they thought that he was Freya.
I couldn't
And
pick
he's
it up.
like, nice.
He literally just goes, "This is what I came here for."
Poor guys. Hey, so what does this tell us about their values as a people?
Disintegrated all.
War and
Yeah.
feasting.
So war's held high. What else?
Feasting.
Yeah, feast. They want themselves some feast.
Oh, and what's it called? Meat.
Yeah, meat. And also their gods are usually obsessed with material items, right?
Mhm.
So meat,
They like shiny things.
wealth,
They're like a raccoon on crack.
raccoons on crack. Wow, okay.
I like to shake.
I'll have to meditate on that later. All right, so Christianity steps in. How does Christianity come in?
Converting.
I think
Yeah.
the very last paragraph.
They're like, you're wrong.
Yeah, so
You're wrong, baby.
missionaries will come and convert after Charlemagne. Pretty much that's it. Like missionaries during this time period, it's going to be a time of essentially like idol smashing. You're going to have a lot of missionaries. They're going to challenge the pagan priest to call upon their gods. And since they don't answer, people are going to convert to Christianity. And the Christians are also going to point out all the inequities, right? They're going to come in like, look, you're not taking care of your poor. You have violence trying to solve all your problems, and all it does is lead to people being brutalized and having their items taken from them. There's like, when I was in college, I had to read a poem about that was pretty common for Norse farmers, is they never went out into their field to plow because they were always afraid their neighbors would come and kill them. So it was a society where in many ways murder was acceptable. People didn't trust one another whenever they, even though they were all interrelated, part of the same community, it was pretty chaotic at times. So,
Can I tell you a story? Yeah.
well, I think what we need to do now is, here's the deal. I want you to partner up with somebody, grab a board, a marker, and a paper towel. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start going over our vocabulary terms now. So let's see. Hopefully you've been studying, right?
I basically know so I don't need to study.
Ooh, I know a lot, so I don't need to study. I don't know. I think we all need to study every now and again. I need to study too.
Basically, my whole middle school, well, I was just into mythology and all the Western civilization type thing. So I know a lot. But 3 years to study. 3 years to study.
Okay, but hey, folks, so go ahead, grab your partner, grab a board, grab a marker, grab a paper towel. But since you're gonna sit next to your partner, you gotta wear your mask. So everybody needs a partner.
Oh, Hunter.
And I thought you wanted to be the scorekeeper.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you're the scorekeeper, but you don't need a partner to be a scorekeeper. So that leaves, the other 10. So I should have 5 groups. So grab your partner. We're going to go over all 3 sets. And hey, folks, for those of you who joined us virtually, at this time, if you could go into Quizlet and study your terms. They have different games and things like that. I've also posted the terms on the Google Classroom, so you can go in there and get good at it. All right. See you tomorrow. Well, we're not going to have a lecture tomorrow. We're just going to have the quiz, and then we'll post another assignment. See ya.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes, sir.
can I tell you